If talking about racism threatens your identity, then your identity is built on someone else's silence. It is not your ancestry that you're protecting, it's your privilege. In 1962, Malcolm X had a speech. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman, and many in the Puerto Rican community are doing everything they can to prove him right. You see, Puerto Rico's beloved myth of the three races often masks the genocide and sexual violence that built and still shapes our community today. So it's time to talk about the truth and about anti-blackness in our community. Today, many are hiding behind the colonial lie that we're all the same, that we're just a mix of races. But the truth is that we have heritage that is Black, Indigenous, and Spanish. Our race is a social construct that is very much dependent on who's looking at you. And people think that racism only happens when it's overt, when it's easy to condemn. But it's important to understand that the worst form of racism is the one that tries to gaslight you into thinking that it isn't. If listening to a Black woman makes you bristle, or if you've never heard of the fact that Black Puerto Rican women here are often called acompleja, even though they are experiencing extreme racism as well, then you might be part of the problem. There's a form of racism that rots a society from the inside. It's the one disguised as culture. So let's settle this once and for all. Talking about racism does not erase Indigenous heritage. And calling out anti-Blackness does not erase Taino Indigenous identity either. So if confronting racism is threatening your sense of self, it's not your ancestors that you're protecting. It's your privilege. It's not your ancestors that you're defending. It's a colonial hierarchy that they suffered under as well. I am Afro-Indigenous. I have Afro-Indigenous ancestry. But how I am perceived racially is a whole other story. Now, race is a social label that we use to sort people into broad groups, right? But ancestry is the actual genetic and geographical story of where you and your people come from. So don't lecture me on heritage and ancestry when you're using the same tactics of the colonizer. Because the truth many don't want to face is that erasing Blackness is just as bad as erasing indigeneity. They're both working under the same system. But the myth of the three races is dangerous, and it's a myth for the very reason that it has been used to discriminate against Black people here in Puerto Rico. Your race is determined by the community that you're in. And by the way, we're not causing division. We're just naming the violence that we know exists. And if that's hard for you to admit, maybe it's time for you to explore your own anti-Blackness.